Everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Monica Brown. I'm a photographer in Central Texas, also just kind of like a stay-at-home mom, blogger, and YouTuber now, I suppose. Yesterday I edited a black and white photo for you. It's a pretty straightforward edit. If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out. And then while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you can keep seeing these edits as they pop up. I hope to do them pretty regularly, especially if people are liking them. Turn on notifications and, give yesterday's video and today's video a thumbs up. So yesterday's was just a pretty simple, straightforward black and white edit, not a whole lot of anything crazy going on. Not that this one's super crazy either, but it does kind of build on yesterday a little bit. Now, the thing that I didn't really talk about yesterday was what I am looking for, I guess, in a black and white image, or how I go about shooting for black and white intentionally. And so the reason that I chose this photo today is because that was something that I was doing with this photo. I was part of a loop on Instagram, if you know what that is, and it was a black and white loop or monochrome loop. And so each week we focused on something different, but it was always in black and white. So this particular week was black and white portraits. And so it had been kind of pretty overcast that week. We couldn't really get outside. We were definitely going to have to take photos inside, but I actually really love photos inside. So, and there is nothing like a window when making a black and white image. The light that comes from a window is perfect. So anyway, this is an image that I shot intentionally for black and white. And so you can see I've set my daughter really close to the window in her bedroom. It is still kind of soft light, I think, because of how overcast it was outside, but you can see she's got some really good highlights on her face, and then it drops off kind of in the back. I put her in a black shirt, also intentionally, just because I really wanted her face to stand out. And I wanted it to be dramatic, and I knew I wanted that ball off light, and that I wanted to, really darken those shadows, and it was just gonna make for a more dramatic feel. And so anyway, I'm just looking for, lighter lights and darker darks. You just want the highlights, you want the shadows. If it's a flat light picture, it's gonna be pretty boring in terms of a black and white image. And so that's kind of what I was looking for here. Let me show you straight out of camera. This is straight out of camera. I mean, this is actually kind of a little bit boring. I did edit some of these in color, and they still looked pretty good, but honestly, black and white was my favorite. But you can see over here we have part of her bed in the background. That's kind of a little bit distracting. You didn't see that in the final image. And so I'm going to show you kind of what I did to darken the shadows in this area, and all of that. So yesterday I used this Rad Black and White 1 from the Rad Pack from Unraveled Academy. When I edited this picture, I didn't have that preset yet. And my favorite one at that point was just this one, Unraveled Black and White 1. And that was kind of my starting place for most of my black and whites, because I feel like Unraveled really does a good job in giving me like a starting place on my black and whites that I really love. So this is where we're going to start on this particular image. And if you have a different black and white you love, use it. No big deal. So also yesterday we got rid of the grain on the black and white because it was just too much. This one was not as much, but we're taking this picture indoors. My ISO is already bumped up. There's already going to be a little bit of grain. So I don't really need extra, so I'm just going to get rid of it. Enable profile corrections, just to kind of get the vignetting off the edge of my photo. Okay, and so from here, I know that I want to make this darker. I could save it for later. I could go ahead and do it. You know what, let's go ahead and bump the clarity up first. I love lots of clarity in black and white. Sometimes it is a lot, sometimes it's not a ton, but I'm going to leave it about there. Let's see. Do I want the highlights up a little bit? Go ahead and bring the highlights up just like a tiny bit. Contrast I feel like is already pretty good. I could start playing with shadows, bring them down a little bit. I still want her face to be pretty well lit though, so actually I probably won't mess with those too much. The original black and white photo that I edited was from March, and so it's been a long time. I don't remember every last thing I did with this image. Okay, and then what I like to do in these is I like to use the graduated filter. And so what I'm planning to do with that is really take this area over here, this area, and just bring everything down, shadows, exposure. It's hard to get it just right. Let's scoot this back. I may need to come in on her face. Okay, so there. Here's where I ended up. Yeah, see her face is a little lighter, so I'll probably go back and bring some of that back. And then in the original black and white, I also kind of got rid of this little bit of her arm down there. I just felt like it was a little less distracting with that gone. So we're just going to go ahead and get rid of that down there too with another graduated filter. See, it's just a little less distracting. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this little tool here, the adjustment brush, and I'm going to, mine has already got the shadows up, which is probably all I really need. Shadows. May go ahead and bump that exposure a little bit too, just to bring more of her face back. And I think it's looking pretty good. That's where it ended up before. It's a little bit different. The highlights were not quite as bright. I can see I straightened the other image a tiny bit. Bring some of the shadows back up a little bit. Tiny bit on. Nope. I'm going to leave the blacks where they are. Okay, so there it is. I mean, it's still pretty simple. I'm not doing anything crazy. Really, the only kind of addition to this edit from the last one is playing with the graduated filters and the adjustment brush to bring back some of what that graduated filter took off of her face. But otherwise, it's still a pretty simple edit. It's not exactly like the one, this is the one we just edited. This is the one from March. They're similar. They're not exactly the same, but both still very much my style. So anyway, if you enjoyed that video, if you would, just go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you are interested in following my work on Instagram, I do have an Instagram page. It's at Monica_Brown_photos. I'd love to see you over there. And then if you are interested in my website and blog, that is www.monica-brown.com. Thanks for being here. Bye.